Hi guys, and welcome to our second episode of Living Life Through the Lens of
Being Sobercurious.
Yeah.
So this is episode 2.
Episode 2.
Yes. So Sobercurious.
Sobercurious.
It's like a big thing.
That's been massive for us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Our journey
Who would have
on
thought?
this. I know.
It's actually hilarious.
We thought we would put this here as a little kind of reminder, a wee nod to our past.
Was that actual alcoholic, that one?
Well, yeah.
Oh, hi.
I still have a shitload.
Same. I get gifted it all the time.
Like Joshua, my kids drink, so
Yeah, so it's a nice bottle.
So, and if anyone comes,
You've
I've
got it.
some.
It's nice to have.
If they want.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So hi there, old friend.
So, let's share our stories. So, to give a little feedback of anyone that doesn't know us. In our last episode we spoke about Rachel and I. We used to work together in the hair industry, and we were the piss artists of
like
the
Prosecco
salon,
queens.
weren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
like not a problem or anything, but just
No.
definitely like buzzing to finish work to get a drink and
Yeah, so
we'd
Saturdays
stay back and we'd actually give each other like the look.
Yeah.
Eddie would be like,
Mid-afternoon.
I'm like, Prosecco, and there was a shop right next door, so we'd run to the shop.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I loved it though at the time.
And it was our traditional photo down in the bathroom.
I like giving the nice background.
Yeah.
Oh
but, dear. Yeah, so yes, so we loved our Prosecco, our wine, our cocktails, everything like that. But from our last episode, you know that Rachel's still suffering from endometriosis, and by that time I'd had my hysterectomy, but I was still getting the pains from everything else, the remnants of it, the bowel issues, the bladder, and then everything else on top of it. And we would like have hangovers for hell, eh?
Yeah.
Like,
I think what's weird now though, like obviously we'll discuss this. At that point though, drinking, like I enjoyed drinking in the moment.
Me too.
Like I actually enjoyed it. The chats we had, like it was funny, like the secret sharing and like everything that you would just spill when you were drunk. And I think what was good in the salon, we definitely had wild moments, like some of the other staff members would stay back and we'd be like rolling about downstairs and just like really taking it extreme, but it was just quite calm.
Yeah.
Music was playing, we'd like get food in and we would just sit and just genuinely like actually enjoy
just
the
chill.
drink. Like we actually loved drinking Prosecco. But then obviously when we sort of stopped working together and like drifted, what's crazy is I didn't know you'd stopped drinking and you didn't know I'd stopped
how
drinking.
weird is that, eh?
And it's like the same time. I'm like, that's so weird. So what made you sort of think, right, was there like a couple of times when you were drinking, like, this is just not for me? What was your turning point?
I think for me, as I've progressed with like my spiritual side and living life more spiritually, and working spiritually as well, I've built up this really strong connection, inwardly and spiritually. And when I had a drink, I couldn't, afterwards for about a week, I could not make a connection.
Yeah.
Couldn't connect whatsoever. And because that side of my life was integral to how I lived, when I didn't have that connection, I didn't feel safe. I felt disconnected from everyone and everything. So
alcohol was like blocking you basically.
Yeah, so I stopped for that. And then the other side of that was, and I mean that's all to do with energy. So like you'll find, like for the spiritual people out there that will connect with this, when you go on this path and you start clearing your traumas and things like that, your frequency becomes higher. So alcohol's a really low frequency energy. So, your frequency's going higher. I know. And then you have a drink and your frequency comes right back down again. So I was like this all the time.
It just wasn't balanced.
All the time. And then physically, Oh my God, yeah, the stomach pains, the week-long hangovers, the constant heartburn, and I think I probably would have developed an ulcer or something like that, you know. So physically,
like, your eating habits change as well. So obviously we would like get a pizza, and then the next day when you're hungover, I might get a Chinese or whatever like that as well. Yeah. So it doesn't just impact how you're feeling in that moment, or even the next day. It rolls into sometimes like a week after.
And then it comes out in your body.
Yeah.
You know, like spots, or you know, like if you're due your period, you'll get heavy periods, or your mental health. It just, you call it the doom, eh?
Oh God, yeah.
You know, like you, the
fear,
thoughts,
I call it, the fear.
The thoughts you have, and you know, the anxiety, and you know, it's not worth it.
Nah.
Hey. What was yours?
So I've always been what I would class as a bit of a lightweight, which I used to always joke was good because it was cheaper and I could just go out and drink whatever. So I used to drink spirits, so vodka was my...
Yeah, me too.
When I think back, like, the things I got up to and the situations I put myself in, as I sound really, like, an adult saying this, but the situations I put myself in, I am an adult. And I was just talking about this. What was that I saying, a 31-year-old teenager? I'm not an adult. I am an adult. The situations I put myself in, like dangerous, rolling about, like falling up the street, wandering off with friends, like, so vodka was what I call my devil drink. I stopped drinking that way before I stopped drinking alcohol, because vodka mixed with something like fresh orange is just so easy. Jaeger bombs that I was known for, you know, when your friends go to the bar to go get shots, my friends would be like, for sake, Rachel's back with a tray of Jaeger bombs, and I'm like, yes, like Jaeger bombs. And I think at that age I didn't get heartburn or anything. This developed later. And I just didn't like who I was drunk. People, again, we had a big chat about this earlier, but when you're drunk, people are like, oh, you're your true self and blah, blah, blah.
No.
I'm my worst self. People might think I'm funnier, I'm louder, I'm more into the party scene or whatever. No, I'm just steaming and quite unaware of my surroundings. And I hate being out of control. I joke because I'm a Virgo, I'm quite a control freak. And being drunk, I'm so out of control. So loads of reasons like that. But during COVID time, when we were kind of in the Prosecco phase, a couple of years later, like what we're saying, we weren't speaking at that point. I don't know, I think every time I had a drink, I'd get back, like, and I mean quite quickly, like 1-2 drinks, banging sore head. Just not feeling, my stomach would hurt, like just something. I honestly would describe it was like a drunk poison, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? This kept happening, and then I just very slowly would maybe just have 1 or 2 drinks on a night out, and then it gets to the stage where you're sort of thinking, why am I drinking? To have 1 drink, I could just drive. And now I just don't. For me, there's no benefits of having a drink. If I was on holiday and I was by the pool and I fancied, I wouldn't say I'm never drinking again.
That's how I say it as well.
I'm not like I can't, you know, I'm not sober as in like, you know, I've not had a problem in terms, I mean, I think depending on drink or acting different and stuff is an issue in itself, but I don't have a drink problem where I can't control what I do and don't drink. So yeah, like when I was in Ibiza for my 30th, they were handing out little it was like frozen pina coladas. I had a couple, I enjoyed it. I was in the sun, I felt a little buzz, went for a nap, woke up, felt fine, had my food, and that was it. So like I say never with drinking, but I will never go back to that phase. And then not that long ago, I was out with a friend, in fact, I'm saying not that long ago, last year, we were in Edinburgh, and I had 1 glass of wine with my dinner, like a very good wine, and then I had, you know, those little funkin' cocktails you get, one of them. In the moment I enjoyed it, before we were even on the train home, I was like, I feel sick, my stomach, God, and that was the last time, 2 drinks, and it was a joke, oh, I've went wrong, I'm having a drink, like it was funny, and from that moment, again, I've just been like, I can't even have like 2 drinks anymore, I just don't want it.
That was the same with us. Eddie and I went on holiday ourselves last year, and you know, cocktails are usually shit on holiday, they're not that great really, and as you know, my favourite cocktail was espresso martini, and Eddie got one at the bar and he was like, oh my God, Lisa, so try this, you'll love it. like it was exceptional, right? So I was like, so I had one, and like what you said, like the sun was setting, it was nice, we were sitting, and I thought, oh, this is lovely. So I had one, felt fine, but I think, you know, we're so hardwired to drink in the sun. Drink to make yourself feel better, drink because you feel amazing, or numerous other reasons. And that one drink, I had done so well and not drank, I couldn't remember. But because the programs are so deeply embedded in our psyche, I think that one drink was like, like the brain waves were going, we remember what this is like.
Should have another one.
Connected again. We went back to the room, and I took one back with me. And so that was only 2 cocktails I had. I was ill the next day. Ill.
And it's funny, you always feel like you should get another one though.
Yeah.
Like you had one,
because
you enjoyed it. Could have just turned it and went, that was nice, leave it at that. But it's like, got another one. And then you just
because you get addicted to the feeling of what it brings to you.
That little soft buzz when you're drunk, or tipsy if you like, sunshine and music, that I get why people like, that's a nice feeling. It's when it goes past that. And you can just stop it. And that was that, but
that just shows you had a glass of wine and a soft cocktail as such. I had 2 cocktails and our body,
it's like telling you no,
rejected it.
Literally.
So we can't even really go there, to be fair.
Just think it's so pointless. You know, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of feeling like rubbish. And then just all the other choices that you make. But I keep laughing in my head. I was trying not to laugh when you were talking, because I keep thinking of all the things we done when we were drunk. Like just funny things.
I know, crazy. And do you know what? It was a time
it's good
in your
to look
life.
back. It was funny.
But it's like learning from it, isn't it?
It's like looking at someone else.
And I've got to congratulate you that you've done that, because you're only 31.
I know, and I definitely
fucking well done.
I know,
because it's took me to I think I started thinking like this at my 50th birthday.
Son triggered in me my 30th, and I've always said I'm
so
older than I am.
You're 20 years more evolved than me within the alcohol. Do you know what I mean? So that is going to do your body so much. So
I think
much good.
Health wise is massively as well. Just I always had, regardless of alcohol, raised liver markers, which is quite common in people with endometriosis. And at one point, you know what it's like, the doctors, maybe you need to watch what you're drinking. I think I was, I feel like saying 18 or something. I didn't drink for 10 months. Everyone thought I was pregnant. I was like, I'm just not drinking. To see how I am and to prove to the doctor my liver markers are still the same, and they were. And you know, I was like, alcohol's not. It's basically, it's kind of like fatty liver. And because I think I was like a size 8, eating disorder, underweight, drinking and whatever, they thought it was potentially, but again, eating disorders can actually alter these things in your body long term, how your fat absorbs. So because I was so skinny, the doctor was like, how have you got this? You don't physically look like someone that would have those markers.
You can be fat on the inside and skinny on the outside.
I have this argument. I, as a whole, regardless of how I look, know I'm healthier than a lot of people that are half my size. Because of what they consume, alcohol, smoking and whatever. So health-wise, alcohol, getting rid of it, because inflammation markers that alcohol causing your body anyway. You know, so it's good for those reasons, and then mentally as well.
Absolutely.
So you are like what you were just saying. You were getting that.
But I just think, you know, we live in a society where we're absolutely surrounded by advertisement to drink. I mean, you just switch the telly on, and it's all these, you know, glamorous party people having an amazing time advertising a drink. And I know that's how advertisement works, but you know, like if you're in the process, that you have to be strong.
Oh God,
to do this.
You're boring, or just it's the social. I've been in. I don't really go now, but over the years I've still went to pub settings. My friends like to drink, and I'm happy to go out and, you know, try and make the effort. And now my friends don't even ask, because they're like, you don't want to be here, and I'm like, no, I don't. But sitting in pub settings, and not my friends, but maybe like people that they know coming up to the table, blah blah, why are you not drinking? What's your reason? The only time I've had anyone respectfully asked, can I ask what, if you don't mind sharing, what's your reasons for not drinking alcohol? And I was like, thank you. That was quite a nice way to ask. It wasn't, why are you not drinking? Why are you being boring? Have a drink. He was like, I'm genuinely a young person, like, and I was explaining, and he was like, good for you, like, that's amazing. But most people, it's like, oh, just have one. Come on. Didn't it be boring? I'm like, I'm actually not boring, and I'm having like quite a good night. I don't need alcohol I can have a conversation without being steaming. When I'm drunk, I didn't have conversations. I just rambled on crap. Like,
my friends and I went out to an event a couple of weeks ago, and we sat there and we felt like people were staring at us. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, we went drinking and we actually left quite quickly.
As well,
I felt so out of place. And I looked around the room at people like laughing and having a good time, you know, but they were all steaming. And I thought, they used to be my crowd. That used to be my crowd. And I just felt so completely not part of it.
I think it's just accepting.
It's so strange.
Like, that's okay.
Absolutely.
There's no judgment. There's not got to be this divide of, well, you know, because I do sometimes think people think you're superior because you don't drink. I'm not judging. I've been there. If you enjoy drink and it doesn't sort of bring your life down and you enjoy it, good for you. Have an amazing time. Like.
It was just interesting looking at it from an observer
outside
point of view.
Like,
you know, like I was looking with the lens of like, wow, that used to be me. Like, I loved a good party, loved a good session. It's like watching an old version of yourself. And it was like, with no judgment.
Yeah.
Like, there was not an outside
it's not like, oh my god, it's just like, oh wow, I used to enjoy that.
I just felt like that's not me anymore.
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
crazy how it's the little man outside.
Yeah, I know.
We're trying to ignore him.
yeah. They're nearly finished.
I know. It'll be worth it. It looks nice.
Yeah.
So I'd say that you've kind of, you know, the benefits we've kind of ticked over there. Would you say there's any other benefits?
Just a life of clarity, really.
Yeah.
You know, life's hard enough, you know, in some aspects. You know, we all travel through the ups and downs of life. And, you know, the more, I mean, as I said, we're programmed, like, you look at EastEnders, it's focused around a pub. You look at Corrie,
which is now burned down, actually. The pub
is
burned to the ground, and the alcoholic is no longer an alcoholic, so I don't know what they're doing there.
So there's all these things that, you know, our life is centred around a pub or this place where you go and whatever, and you know, it's not worth it. And if you want clarity and if you want to grow in life, then you want to be as clear as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I used to think, you know, like when I did have a drink, my creative side came online. And I can see that, you know, with some industries, like you look at musicians, you know, and you see their biographies and they're half cut when they come up with the most amazing song the world's ever heard and what. I get that, but it's not sustainable because
Stevie Nicks said that. She was like, I loved all the things at the time. She was like, but look what I've done. I mean, then I might have got some of the best songs of my life, but it ruined my life at the same time.
Because alcohol, drugs, all the kind of brain altering substances, it does unlock a different part of your brain. It's like when folk go and do like mushrooms or ayahuasca or something like that in a controlled setting, it opens up a different part of the brain that you experience something different. Alcohol's kind of like that.
I definitely googled the ayahuasca before. I was like, what's this all about?
But alcohol is so dense in energy. It's an antidepressant, so if you're already feeling that way, it's just going to make you feel worse. And then you just go in a loop. You go in a loop.
If there's any issues in your life going on, you think, oh, go out and get steaming and have a great night. By the end of the night, if you overdo it with drink, the chances are you'll be crying at the end of the night by whatever you were upset about. Sorry, my eyelash keeps sticking together. Anything that is sort of on your mind will come out at some point in whatever way.
Yeah, it's like there's no filter.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
when you're, and it depending on how you're feeling. you either get drunk and feel amazing, or you get drunk and the depressed feeling you felt
and
before,
it will come out at some point.
You know, it comes out, doesn't it? You know, so it is a loop.
Exactly.
You know, so when you're out then, socially, what kind of stuff do you drink?
If I go out socially, I actually hardly ever go out. If I am out, I sometimes will get a mocktail, but I'm not going to lie, it depends what's in it, because I do think they're overpriced for what they are.
Absolutely.
So I'll kind of look what's in it. Will I really enjoy that? It's maybe have like one.
Because they're kind of about the same price, aren't they?
Exactly. So depending on where I am, I might get a mocktail, but normally I'm actually just like a soda water and lime person, to be honest. That's my main one, or fresh orange and lemonade. A coffee. Like I love espressos, just a wee shot. They're the main things. Like when I'm not out socially, trip drinks are my go-to. But if I'm going to a friend's house and they're drinking and I'm not, a trip drink. What other ones? There's a couple other ones. There's natural caffeine ones that I don't normally drink, but in a social setting, if I wanted to kind of, I get a bit sleepy when I'm just sitting, and I wanted like a natural boost. I can't remember the name of them though. There's a little white can. Stuff like that. I also like kombucha, so maybe have one of them. Like any of the little cans that you can get are great. But a lot of restaurants have now started getting trip in, and the price of them, I'm like, I know what I can buy a crate of them for. So I very rarely would drink a trip drink when I was out, unless I was going to a friend's house. But I'd say that's the main ones that I would drink. But generally day to day, I just drink water most of the time. And then my trip drinks, like that's.
Day to day, I'm the same. It's water for me, all the way.
You feel better with, like, again, that sounds so cliche, but you do. The more water you drink, you just feel better as well.
Absolutely.
So,
but if I'm out, like you, it's very rare.
If we're out, not when.
But saying that, like, I went to one of my clients last year, invited me to a Sobercurious brunch event in Edinburgh, and we'll link that group because it's really good if you live locally. And we had, you paid, so I think it was something like 30 quid or something, right? And you got, on arrival, you got a glass of Prosecco, which I don't know about you, but I've tried shitloads of Proseccos and they're crap.
The only one I can genuinely say...
I found one.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
See, I don't mind the Kylie Minogue rosy one.
Oh, right,
but
I've not tried
that's
that.
the only one I can say. We've had it at work when we've been like celebrating someone's birthday and not wanting to drink because we've got clients. And that's the only one I can say I've drunk and went, oh, that was actually quite nice.
Was it alright? I just find them so sweet.
Aye.
They're hot. Because I found that out, like, they use the sugar as the preservative now, or something like that. So, yeah, I've tried them all, and so far I've not came across any that I liked apart for this one, and for the life of me, I forgot, it begins with an L, but we'll post that as well. So you got a glass of Prosecco, then you sat down, we had a wee chat, and then you got a beautiful brunch, and then before you went, you got a list of 3 cocktails that you could try, and then we had these cocktails, and I thought, what a great way to sample some alternative non-alcoholic drinks. And to be fair, one of them was an espresso martini.
Also, it was nice to try it in a different...
And it actually was really nice. You couldn't drink it all night, but see, for one...
Just to have something.
And it comes in a can, and when you pour it into the glass, it looks... It looks really light.
That's good.
And the Prosecco was so good. And there was another one that was quite nice as well, which was a Scottish brand as well, which was nice. So they were nice for now and again. Another one I've tried is the Spirit. It's called Spirit. They come in, you get 3 bottles.
And is that like the gin alternative?
No, they're more, so the one's called a Livener. Again, should have prepared this, but I'll get the names of them.
We'll do a list at the bottom.
And they're all herbal based.
See, when I was out for Mother's Day there, it's 30 knots. They had something, but they class it as like a gin, but it was a herbal base.
Right,
and the cocktail, it was so good. It was mixed with like grapefruit and something. and they were, so I'm wondering if it's maybe similar.
Well, it's 3 bottles, and how they market it is, like, I think a livener is how they say how you, to get the party started, all the herbs in it are like quite stimulants.
Yeah.
And then the middle one was like middle of the night kind of thing. Yeah. And then the last one, which has got a good name, is for winding down the evening. Okay. And that's more like maybe a brandy or whatever, and they're all really nice. Yeah. But they're quite expensive. But there was one of them that really aggravated my stomach that I couldn't get. But I did find out, you know, like, because like I was asking the girl that ran this sober group, and I was like, why are they so I mean, a bottle of Prosecco is about the same price as a normal bottle, you know, a non-alcoholic one. And she was like, it's the shelf life.
Right, okay.
Because like that bottle, I mean, I think I've had that about a year.
Yeah, and you know, right.
And it's all right, you know. But whereas a non-alcoholic one is because there's no alcohol in it, so it goes off quicker. Yeah. So like the pubs charge that because
they can't keep them in as long. Yeah, they need to make the money back.
And I was like, I never thought of that.
I get that actually. Yeah.
And the beers, I actually quite like the beers. You need to try them.
I used to love a beer, like
sitting in the garden.
I love the Desperado as well, and a Corona, like love.
Well, the Corona non-alcoholics are lovely.
Okay, I've never tried them.
Really nice, and the San Miguel, they're my 2 favourites.
I just love the frothy.
Yeah. And they taste, honestly, I like them more than the Prosecco, the beer. Yeah. So
I think I'm just so stuck with a trip drink that I just love them so much. It's nice to try.
No, you need to try the beers.
Other stuff.
Brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. We do have a list here. I feel like it's funny. I always jot down. It's just got a brain like a sieve. How would you say all of this has affected friendships?
Well, I think it does, you know, like my drinking kind of friends, you know, that I would maybe say, oh, do you want to go for lunch? And lunch was code for lunch and
a liquid one.
Yeah, I probably don't socialise with them as much.
It's the chats. I shared it after you shared it. The lady at the party, and she was like wearing all black, and it was like waiting on someone. Go and someone talk about like astrology or witches or something, the vortex, like anything. Someone talk about something, and that is just what I think of when you don't drink now, and like if you're in a friendship group or whatever, and it's just like the chat. Yeah. So
I've got a really small group now.
Same.
Very small group of friends. And I don't really miss not going out anymore.
I've got more individual friends, or maybe like 2. I wouldn't say I've got a big group.
No,
because
absolutely
the big groups that I did go out with, we all genuinely got on, and I mean, I would say we all liked each other, but I couldn't tell you now what we had in common, if anything at all. Yeah. It was to get drunk. We used to sit and get dolled up, do our makeup, gossip about whoever we were, gossiping about who was dating who and blah blah blah. What guys are you getting dressed up to go and try and get with the night? Like that's what it was. And then you were out, and did you really talk when you were out? Nah.
And if you meet them sober, you're
what
like,
would you? Oh hiya, how are you? How's kids? Like great, good. Like there's nothing to talk about. So that's why if I've still got friends that we've been friends for so long, and we're on different paths, and you make the effort because like they mean a lot to you. It's quite nice when we're all together in a group setting because I feel like we've got more to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can all bring in little aspects, and if you just need a breather, sometimes it's just social aspect for me. Like, I don't mean it in a bad way against people in general, but like draining for me. I think because I don't feel great a lot, I find that I want to show up, make the effort, but I've not got as much to give. So it's quite nice to have other people to dilute it, and you can just sit, listen, chime in when you feel like it. But yeah, now we just like go to the Indian and stuff instead of drinking. So
yeah, and I find you know, over the years, I feel myself disconnecting from people just very naturally if we're not on each other's wavelengths. There's no badness.
It's just naturally,
you know,
and
like,
it's okay. Like,
you know, I find the deeper I get on my path, you know, there's some people that just do not get it whatsoever, or you know, they're very polite, and you know, they'll say, oh, blah 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 blah, or they say something very superficial, you know.
So I was saying about earlier, people meet you as far as they've met themselves. And that's fine. It's not a superiority thing.
Again.
People don't have to believe what we're doing or do what we're doing or whatever. We know the benefits and what it's done for us. And if, you know, if their life path's different, that's fine. Definitely. But you can still come together, acknowledge each other and just go away.
But then there's just some people that you just completely disconnect from. And again, that's okay as well.
That's like the 2D world, you know?
Yeah.
That's a whole nother topic to get into, like 2D, 3D, 4D. How far do we go? 5?
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, it's just how you view things, you know? So basically those people view things quite as they are, really. Whereas we're like, what's inside, what's behind, what's happening. So yeah, it's just, the chat's different when you're drunk, for sure.
Everyone's on their own journey and it's okay wherever you are.
I think I would always, you know, some people genuinely love drinking and they love the taste of alcohol and whatever. I would always encourage people to at least try and just to see the benefits. Like if you've got a health issue or a mental health issue, cutting back alcohol would be interesting for anyone, just to see what the physical or mental changes could be for them. And if they don't feel like it works and they feel no different, fine. But
that was actually what I was going to say as well. At that sober brunch, I was actually, it wasn't a big group. I think there was maybe about 10 people there, but I was actually quite surprised how many like younger people were there.
This is such a thing.
So there was like my age group, and then there was like some in their like 30s, 40s, and then there was some like 20s. And during the day I got just briefly speaking to them, and I was like, you know, like, you are so young, like, do you feel you're stopped drinking completely? And they were like what we said, you know, like, you're not saying you'll never, alcohol will never touch my lips again. But they were saying that it was the falseness of friendships, just what you said, that it triggered in my mind, that they felt that they had no genuine connections.
I know my friends that I've got now I genuinely trust them. I genuinely know they'll be there. Like, some of us don't see each other that much, or it's always a joke, you know, no, to message so-and-so in an emergency because they'll no answer and things, like some people take longer, blah, blah. But every single friend I've got in my life, I know if I need them, I need advice. Like, I've got a friend that's always a joke, like, we kid on that our way showing that we like each other's been a little bit mean, but under the surface, like, they're there. If I go, right, no, this is serious, I need to speak to you. Everyone in my life now is genuine, and they're there because I want them to be there. There's honestly no one that I just think, what's the point?
Absolutely.
It's draining. Like, it's no good for anybody, really. So yeah, definitely the connections are better, because I would say I was late 20s-ish when I stopped really drinking. Definitely. So
yeah, it's really interesting how that younger age group are, you know, coming into
it's the money aspect as well, to be honest.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
The money aspect's like, when we used to go on nights out, honestly, 20 quid was like, you could go and get a full new outfit. You get paid on a Saturday in your wee brown envelope. Go and get a whole new outfit. You would dig out your 20s and everything, like your 20p's and that, to see that would get me one drink. Like, you'd be lucky if a tenner gets you a drink these days. So I think that side of thing,
a cocktail, really, isn't it?
15 sometimes in Edinburgh. But it's just crazy, like the money side of it. And then our next topic, what we're talking about being single, like, you've not got the money to try and do your whole life and go out and just waste it on like alcohol or whatever as well. So
I know.
So there's so many reasons to not drink, but a lot of my friends are starting to become, oh, you know, like, what's that you're drinking, can I try it? Or my friend that I would always joke was like the wino. I started being Sobercurious. And she actually messaged me and was like, right, okay, I'm actually like being serious, what could I drink? And she's found, I can't remember the name of them, is it like, you know, that pink lemonade that's like, it's quite a big bottle with a thin lid, it's got a silver lid, you'd know it. It's like rose lemonade or something. She really likes that.
Right.
And she maybe like puts it in a wine glass and it feels like.
Yeah. I think the vessel you drink from makes a difference.
When you're out at these social things and you can't be arsed with people, why are you not drinking? It's so bad that you're like almost masking. I'd happily sit with a wine glass with fizzy water in it if it means everyone's going to just shut up. But it's amazing how folk, the sort of illusion of you drinking, it's like they're happier at that. Exactly. Whereas if I had a glass that was quite obviously like a can of iron brew, they'd be like, I'm I wouldn't drink iron brew, let's be honest.
No, that plays havoc with me.
Yeah. That was my go-to when I was hungover.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
I would get a 6-pack, so that's so bad. The night before going out, I'd get a 6-pack, full fat iron brew. Pickled onion Monster Munch was I still love them though.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably it. And I would be sick for hours. Like, how bad for your stomach?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like.
My friends would stay. And like one of them I'm actually still friends with I couldn't get up off the bed till 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
They'd go to the shop for me and get munch because they were like, she's ill.
Yeah.
And I would lie and just eat crap all day, and then we'd get a Chinese.
Yeah.
4 o'clock, get the order in for 5, and you'd sit and eat a full ass Chinese.
Yeah.
And that's all you'd eat all day was the full Chinese and your packet of crisps and 10 tons of iron brew.
Oh man.
So again, the health aspect.
I think what you've done to your body, Yeah.
Aye.
But I think as well, if you're on this journey and if you're anything like me, it is a journey.
Yeah.
And what I've found that I needed to do when I came to the conclusion, yeah, Lisa, this is time now.
Mm-hmm.
Your body, your mental health, for everything, you need to cut it out your life.
It's not a benefit.
What I felt I had to do was, I was great for like a couple of months, and then a social event would come up, whether it be, you know, within the family or out within. I would go in going, right, okay, I'm not going to drink today, I'm not going to drink at this. And then I'd maybe get tempted, right? So then I would drink. So the next day I would feel ill, and then I would be going to myself, right, okay, that's why I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I felt I had to do that loop.
You have to remind me why.
Times.
And that's fine, that's okay.
So I had to go in, remember what it felt like to feel sick.
Yeah.
I have the headache, write the day off. Humans
are weird though. How many times do you need to do these things before? And we do need to do these things.
Yeah.
It's like,
I had to keep reinforcing
go back to a toxic relationship. We'll just try one more time.
Yeah,
just one more.
Yeah, but it's with yourself.
Yeah, it might be better this time. Not as now. You're going to get the same result. It's the same thing.
Until that last time, which I can't remember when it was, I was like, no, this is it. This is fucking it. I've got to do it.
We're definitely, I'd say now, very much at the strong stage of like, I'm just going to
I feel quite strong now. I can still get slightly triggered. The sunshine triggers me.
Yeah, see, I go... Sunshine turns me to my music now. Like, that's my thing. So I'm like, no, put the good tunes on and I'll get out. Yeah, but yeah, like, I was driving here. Obviously, it's such a nice drive here, and I would say Ibiza is like a big haunt for me. Like, I'll always love Ibiza, but for different reasons. I had the Ibiza tunes on the day, like they're back at the sunset, and I was like, oh, I mind just dancing about in amnesia, like yes, with like my shots and everything. And I was like thinking about it. And I think about it as looking at someone else.
Yeah.
Like there's a trend on TikTok where it's like you meet your older self.
Oh, I love that. I keep meaning to do that. I think you done it with I met yourself with a coffee.
Think about my old self and I smile about her now though.
Yeah.
I used to think, I feel like crying thinking about my older self. Like it's one of those things, and I'm just like, it's like a transition period, and I think back fondly now, you know, and I just think that girl learned so much and where I am now, and it's just nice to look back and think that was a different person and that's okay. And it's just, you know, the transition of life. That's what I keep saying to you, Rachel. It's like a massive congratulations to you. Like, you are in your early 30s. Don't feel silly. And look what you're learning. Yeah. You're like, that's like we're a generation apart. Yeah. And it's like my generation is still in that loop. Yeah. And I've got off it. But it's took me longer than you to realise what these things do to our body. I think I used to feel guilty and almost like she was more fun than me, or I know it's still me, but I'd think back, she was more fun, like she was more this. I was like, no, I love thinking back about my old self now. I was amazing, and I still am, but in a different way. And literally driving along today with like certain songs just gave me this, like, oh my god, like that's really nice to think back. Whereas now, you know, before I would think back and think, oh god, I wish I was still like that. I don't wish I was still like that. No. I can't believe I'm crying over dancing in Ibiza thinking about the times. But I just I'm so glad that I've figured it out sooner than later. And I just think
you've probably added many more years to your life.
Hopefully. Once I figure out this chronic pain rubbish, then we'll see. Now I'm going to be a little patchy. But yeah, I just think it does so much for you. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it is an emotional journey.
I can't believe really that. That's actually crazy. I did not. That just came out.
Good. You let it out.
I know I'm such. I will not cry. We're talking about. Well, again, we'll go into this in the next topic. But masculine energy, and I will not cry. And I'm like, oh, just effing cry, you silly Billy. Like, it's fine. You're allowed to cry. But yeah, it's just good to just let it go.
Let it go, baby.
Let it go. Oh, then we'll start singing Bloody Frozen in a minute. That's I love a wee movie. I think like, I mean, again, we always joke about this. You could go on and on and on. It's so easy.
I mean, these conversations we're having are here
and it's
to help people evoke different things in themselves. You know, what we've been through, and you know, you might be at the beginning of your journey, so these might help you a little bit.
These are genuine conversations we have. Like, we were just running over like what to discuss here, and we ended up like sitting chatting about everything anyway. So yeah, anyone out there, put the drink down, find yourself, and all that. So
we'd love to hear your feedback, where you are in your journey, or if you're curious, or you know what you would like to achieve and involve in, you know, or if this is not like vibing with you at all, then swipe on up.
Losers, I'm going to get a shot. What do you mean?
Exactly. So, you know, let us know what you think, And cheers to us, to
cheers
be where
to
we are now.
We water. Ready, actually, the drink, so. Is that it?
Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that, and join us for the next one.
And we'll pop all the bits below as well.
Some interesting.
I joked in the last episode of getting my tissues out. I should have my tissues out this time. I thought I'd have cried on the last. I'll probably cry again another. I'm a crier. So yeah, that's everything, I think.
Yes. Brilliant.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.